It's 9 o'clock, I'm gonna call a meeting to order. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't know if everybody's had a chance to go over the minutes of the last meeting, June 28th. If so, I'll take a motion for that.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second it. I voted no on the West Lowry Road deal. The only correction that I seen.
Yes, we did.
That's a big mistake.
I will fix that before I send it to the paper.
What's that?
I'll fix it before I send it.
Okay.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passes. Claims.
I move to approve.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. I'll need a second.
I'll second.
A second. Any more discussion? I know Josh isn't here, but do you think they're ever gonna start buying off the truck? Try to cut some costs? You doubt it?
I don't know if they're gonna save any money. They're getting a pretty good deal where they're at. They get a pretty good discount. Right up front on everything. It's costing us, what, $1.20 a meal?
$1.30.
I don't know that we can complain about that.
And it just seems like there's less people in the jail and the price of the meals, or the price that we're spending on it seems like it keeps going up.
Can't be very many less if we took in a $270,000 out of county.
I just seen that one real quick where it says meals served, so I'm guessing everybody's eating what's there. That's,
Plus, what is it costing us to travel back and forth every day, picking, if we had the fuel costs in on that, that's gonna jump it up quite a bit too.
and the month, it had to be months, from May to June, there was over 300 meals less. That's what I'm saying, it seems like our costs for the food keep going, we keep spending more, but there's 300 meals served less. I mean, that's, I don't know, I would think that's quite a few people. You have 300 meals. What are you figuring, 3 meals a day?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm just going by what that's showing there.
It shows, adding everything up, we got $5,738 in amount spent in June for 300 less meals, so we're $1,100 more. Plus that doesn't include all the fuel and time to go over there.
I don't know, it just seems like there's more money being spent in the food department than there's people.
I don't know, all I can go by is
I'm just going by what his sheet.
the one that says
$1.
$1.21 per meal per day per inmate. $3.63 a day, I don't know where you can eat that.
But
No, but that's not what I'm saying, Jim, I'm just
if
saying,
you look at this one, it's $1.31.
yeah, but I'm just saying, what is the difference? I mean, I'm not understanding how there's less meals being served, but yet there's more money being spent, that's what I'm saying.
Well, we've got no idea what they've got in their freezer or on their shelves or over there or anything. I assume they probably stock their freezer now that it's working. The last I knew it was still working. But I don't know, I'm just going by what they told me. And what this is, $1.31 for the cost of the, I don't know how they figured that, if they I imagine they probably restocked their freezer, I don't know that, but I know there for a while it was pretty empty because they had no place to freeze anything.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passed.
Well, I was gonna bring, being we got phase on there, are you gonna bring that up in old business about paying?
I just will bring it up on rules, old business.
Great.
Okay, I think everybody knows who everybody is here. Let's go to number 6, Mobridge Regional Hospital and Ambulance.
Hurry up.
We just move to the next one. Yeah. They here, Becky?
We'll skip the
Oh,
Shannon.
let's go to Shannon.
Shannon?
Morning.
Morning.
We got my email or not, got a chance to look through the quotes that I got around or whatever, but looking through everything, it looks like Lamb's got the cheapest. And, they'd be willing to give us a 17 model for a 16 price. That's, I gave you guys a lot of printouts here. Beetle, got one from them, theirs is used, it's 2013 for 48. But the Rams quote, I came back as 27, but there's no flatbed on there, that'd be additional. But that'd be the same, and the one in Walworth does come with a flatbed, I guess. But that's also 13. There is a kind of a comparable one down in Beersford with a flatbed on it. That's a 2015, with 40,000 miles for 22,000.
Is there any way we can get a trade-in for the one we got?
Probably not. I can ask them or whatever, but I'm sure they, with the reverse wall, with the transmission, I'm not on that, they'll do the same thing, but can always ask, and I don't know if they will on a state bid. That's something I don't know. But the bad thing about this is to get these prices, they gotta be ordered by July 20th. Otherwise, we gotta wait till October. Because that's at the end of the year. So for the Beersford one, the one that would work the best for us down in Beersford, it's a little bit, well, that's an extent, or that's a crew cab, so that's why it's more, but those are the two between that one and Lamb's for the state bid are probably the best ones we can get. For the one in Woolbridge, that's a 2013, it's 48,000, these ones are under, the one from Lamb's is under 30, and the one from Beetle, or from Jerry's is just over 30 for Beetle. And the other one in Beersford, it's a 15, they want 22 for it. I guess I don't know why we wouldn't want to go Beetle and get the warranty out of it for another 5,000, but then we'll have to have the flatbed on there, but.
That's what, 3,000, I'm sure, isn't it?
Anyway, by the time you get her mounted.
Unless we can,
Right, so,
we could probably use this one off here, off the old one too. I don't know why we wouldn't be able to.
I imagine they've changed the frames in the last 20 years.
Yeah, they might, I guess. I know they,
I'm
guess I never-
I'm sure Clarence could fit it, but,
That's still, that's gonna cost a bunch too.
Unless you're
oh,
going-
yeah.
But I mean, on the 2015, I mean, there's still a lot of warranty left on it.
and that one actually in Beersford, that's 3/4 ton, it does come with flathead.
How many miles do you have in the old one?
120-some thousand. And for a new transmission, which would be used, would be 4,000. That's what,
Did you talk to John and Lowry?
no, I talked to Tina, I guess, and JR, I don't know, I don't know.
Roger was telling me that that's been something for quite a while, and John told him, run it till it quits, and he'll pull it out and take it down to his brother and stick it down back the next day. Is what Roger told me.
How many miles do you think you can go on, put on that pickup a year?
I think I put a little over, right at 4,000 last year.
How many miles are on that?
Like 100, I want to say like 127,000, or I think is what's on there. It says 27,000, but I'm sure it's been turned over. I think it's 87, but.
Where you at on it?
We're talking about the Lamb's quote for you. Is right here. That's the one time.
What did John say what it would be, or?
I didn't talk to John, Roger was telling me this in church the other day.
That's the same one you emailed.
Yep, this is
Okay.
this is the additional one that I got yesterday. Here's the one from you.
I looked on, the, stuff for the state surplus. They got 7 3/4 ton drag from age 205 with 27,000 miles on it. They're all 3/4 tons on 4-wheel drive. But it's all, Walworth County can bid them. So that's another option.
When we were
We
looking at.
can or can't?
You
You
can.
can.
It's only for state and county and school districts.
You can get on this.
They are Huron and Box Elder where they're located.
That's when we were talking about, that one that was 28,000 price for 54,000 miles, and I think that was in 2013.
They had,
Is the one they had for, it was the best deal they had so far, unless you start bidding on them, which you're,
the one I saw for the 205 was a F-250. It had 27,000 miles on it, they wanted 13.9. That was the low. And then it creeped up to the 27,000 like you saw. Some of them are extended cab, there's one that was crew cab and the rest of them are regular cabs.
Well, you really wouldn't need an extended cab, do you?
no,
Say, for turning.
no, next time cab wouldn't be necessary, just regular cab would be fine. It would have to have a long box to put that spray rack though.
They had, all those were a long box.
What do you have in your budget?
For, there was 15,000 in the budget for this year.
I talked to the rest of the weed board, and I hadn't called you up, but I was been the deal. It seems that we should look at, find out what really is the matter with this pickup, in lieu of buying a different one, because this season is getting pretty close to being over. And go plan for next year.
I would suggest put it in the budget for next year. I would have a hard time buying Shannon a new pickup. When we turned the sheriff down, and he got 200,000, told him to fix the body triangle.
And maybe it wouldn't be that serious to fix that transmission on that.
Yeah, they guaranteed roughly about 4,000. Well, that would have been used transmission. So, if that's all that's wrong with it, obviously, but
Where would you go with it?
I just got the bid out of Woolbridge, out of Tina and Leah Thompson.
Okay.
I know, Roger said that John said his brother could fix it overnight. have it back in the next day. I suppose if they get to it. He didn't say anything about what it would cost, but. Yeah, like Ernie says, the spraying season is about over.
Okay, we should check into that. I know there's that place in Aberdeen too, that's, I think that's where like Selby Auto takes all theirs to, is that outfit in Aberdeen.
Well, when we were coming over there, you know, there's, on that, from Java to here, there's spots, Canada thistle in the ditch, but it's no use spraying them anymore because they're seeding out, they're seeded out. And leafy spurs is about the same way, and wormwood, well, you all know that past its stage already. Fall is nice, or don't do any more than that.
Do you wanna check on some prices then?
I can check at Bowery and then, I'll check, or I'll get, a thing from Thompson Stewart, or Bill or whatever.
You could check at Selby Auto too.
Selby.
Selby Auto and Selby.
I can do that too.
Like I said, that's where I had mine done at. I know they shipped it to Aberdeen.
I'll get those quotes. I will not be here the next meeting, because I gotta be at a safety meeting, but I can be here, the second, if you guys have it on the second.
Well, if you get the quotes, can you give them to Becky so we can still discuss it?
Yeah, I don't know if I need to be here or not, but I know I will be gone, because that's the 21st is the next one.
As long as you got the quotes and you give them to Becky, so we
Okay.
can still look at them.
Sounds good.
And just put it in your budget for next year for,
Okay, sounds good.
All right? What else you got there, Shannon?
I think that was it, unless the you didn't speak to me.
Yeah, if you want to talk about it.
He doesn't address his name, she has salary.
Okay. And then-
So I don't know if you want to do that. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Did you find anybody for helping with this?
Oh,
You got-
Roger
I mean,
said
you
he
got
was,
that
yeah.
on here.
Yeah, Roger said he would help out if he's available. Compensation, or whatever, he said he would like to at least recoup the cost for his license. And, he never said how much that cost or whatever. And there was another fee on there that he had to keep up, I can't remember. We have to have some kind of dealer's license or something. So I think this whole cost would be like $150 or something like that. So I don't know, he said he would like to at least recoup that cost.
And he wasn't talking about any hourly or nothing,
He said he liked it, and he said it would be up to whatever,
or whatever we want to pay.
by the way it sounded, yeah. And right now he is volunteering for Selby. Until they can get someone to do it for him, until they get licensed. But he said he'd be able to help out if he's available, and he would at least like to recoup the cost of his license and stuff.
Should we pay him, Jamie, then?
It's up to you guys, set a part-time, what do we pay part-time employees right now?
Varies.
what's your part-time mowers and stuff out there getting?
One's at $14.72 and the other one's at $11.
1472 is getting benefits.
So maybe the 11, what'd you say, 11 what?
11.70 something. I don't know why I can't remember.
Is it on here?
Not all really, no. I might have it here someone else can use
This is showing 1236.
Or is that with everything?
You're okay there?
Yeah.
So our schedule shows 1236.
Okay, then that's what it is.
1236.
Okay.
And I can call him back and see if he'd be willing to do it for that or whatever, but he just said he'd like to at least throughout the summer make up the cost, right? For his license.
Okay.
Because he had to pay for that one, because he's not a county employee.
Sounds fair to you guys?
Sounds fair. The only thing is, are we paying for his whole license, or is he gonna have Selby pay for part of his license being sprayed for Selby, or?
No, I don't think so, but he just said he wondered if you would help with the towns, and that's what he was doing. And he said he didn't care if he got all of that, but it would help to have something for compensation, so. And I can check with him again or whatever after we discussed it today, and see what he says about that or whatever.
I think the way we talked about it at the last meeting, if he's using our sprayer, he's our employee during the duration of that spraying event, whether he's doing it in.
So we're gonna get sucked in no matter what.
Wherever, yeah.
You're correct.
So if he's using our sprayer, he's gonna be on our payroll for that time.
For the insurance purpose.
Well, there'll be no just renting it out to anybody that wants to come and get it, they need to be an employee of Walworth County while they're using it, so. So he'll have to, I mean, his agreement with Selby is gonna have to change somewhat, you know, so he can spray it, and submit the bill.
14, what you said.
That's Jerry Coster's. Gerald, where is it?
Yeah, you just talked
The
to
1236.
I'll talk to him, you said 1287?
No, 1236.
1236.
I'll see what he says about that or whatever. He said that he's around and he would help do it. And then, he's been using the, city of Selby's vehicle too, so it doesn't, he has no cost to it, that's why he was volunteering too. But if we could compensate for him for a little bit, it might help out when he's available, so.
Okay.
So which vehicle would he use if he went to Casca?
I don't know, we have to discuss that because I wouldn't want him to take the spray pickup and then reversing it. I don't know if we could use
Use the highway?
one of the highways vehicles or not.
Vehicle if he would have to spray some other city or
Yeah.
town?
That would work, as long as I got enough notice.
I would think you know in advance when you're gonna be spraying in a cask or something.
Yep.
I would think just work it out with Penny then.
Okay.
For now?
Until we get the vehicle fixed or whatever, yeah.
Anything else, Shannon?
Nope, that was all I had.
This sheet that I passed around kind of goes hand in hand with that.
You've been charging, didn't you say $25 an hour? Or what?
That's what it was.
So it comes out pretty close, but the labor cost will be adjusted. We'll have to charge mileage, or I suggested that we charge mileage on the pickup truck as well.
So it'd actually be $28.50.
No, I mean, the total cost for the machine is $23.50, including that maintenance charge of $5 per machine hour. So it's $23.50 an hour for the machine, plus the wage of the employee doing the spraying, whether it's Roger or Shannon, and then also the mileage on the truck and the insecticide that's used too. So.
But you still have to add that $5.
It is.
We added that in.
$18.50 is the base price, and then
Okay,
$5.
so you already
Yeah.
added that in.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So realistically, Ryan, it'll be somewhere around that $40 to $50 an hour range once you
You
factor
know,
everything in.
if Shannon's doing the spraying, do something like what Penny does and calculate out the whole, you know, her whole cost wage for the insurance and the benefits and everything else too, so it'll probably be more expensive if she has to do it, but, if like Roger's doing it for $12.36, that's gonna be pretty straightforward, you add $12.36 to that, add the mileage, and that's gonna be that, so.
What are you charging for mileage?
42 cents, state rate, yeah.
So we'll get a hold of Roger and see what he thinks,
Yeah.
see if he will help. All right.
Okay, and then you say, emergency management?
Yeah, Patty had a staff meeting, so she was able to make it today.
Okay.
So we'll be here on the 2nd of August, I'm guessing, if it works for her.
Okay, and the burn ban.
I've had quite a few people call me and ask me,
If it's still on.
if we should put, or indicated we should put it back on. Yeah, we got a half inch of rain, some of us did. He gets out the casket and they didn't get anything. And so being that they called and asked about it, I thought, we just want to discuss it. You know, there is spots.
There's spots, but I don't know, do you really think it's necessary right now?
I don't know, does it ever stop anybody from burning anything?
No. It doesn't, they'll do it anyway.
What I think it does is change their liability.
Mhm.
If there's a burn ban on and they're burning,
Very liable.
they're liable.
Mhm.
Well, I would guess, wouldn't I be liable anyway if I started my pit on fire, even if there wasn't a burn ban, and it went over and
Still-
burned my neighbor out?
Still his fault.
Yes, you'd still be responsible, but when you have that burn ban in there, your level of responsibility, is a good term, is heightened because of the weather conditions which created the burn ban, so. But, yeah, what does your emergency manager think?
There's a lot of them that are lifted, but like, there's a couple of counties west of that keep it on year round. They don't even talk about it, just burn bans in effect all the time.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
And they evidently get by on it.
Yeah, I don't know, people must burn anyway or whatever, but yeah, some of them don't even mess with it, they just keep it on year round, West River especially. But there's a lot around it that though, there is no burn ban as of now,
There's
and quite a few of
there's
them.
a lot drier over there too.
Yeah.
I guess I probably would've been all for it if we wouldn't have got the rain we did. I don't think I can ever say if it, all of the county,
Oh, but some of them, like Tim Zabel said, he got 100
yeah.
night before last. So, you know, we got 60, 100, so we're looking good today.
Well, what do you think, Kevin?
I think we should keep it off.
Off? I'd say if it doesn't get any more rain by the next meeting, I would think that'd be a lot difference then, because that's just my feeling.
I don't know of anybody that's gonna be burning anyway. I don't, like Shannon says, I don't know if we stop anybody from it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing
Anybody's
is there's people trying to clean up properties and stuff, and
You know, most of them would be,
they call the fire department anyway to let them know.
yeah.
But it's just a liability factor of it, that
Anyway, I had several people call me and ask me about that, so I thought, we just, well, just about it.
if
Get it in the
it
minutes anyway that we talked about it.
Yeah, I
if it
think
wouldn't
let's
have rained, I
wait and
was
see what
gonna
happens.
bring it up to put it on.
I've got a couple big questions from Jabba last week too, and I said there's no burn ban in effect as of now, so.
Well, let's just discuss it next meeting if it looks like it's getting drier.
Okay.
Anything else, Shannon?
No, that's all I had.
All right.
I got a
Thank you.
question for you.
Yeah.
How's the weed problem going with people calling in?
There's been some letters sent out here the last week, so they'll get 30 days to clean it up, and after that, we'll go and hire a third party to come take care of it. I've got quite a few complaints. Some of them didn't want to send letters, but they still wanted to complain, but there is some letters that got sent out.
Well, if they put a complaint in, there should be a letter sent automatically.
But they didn't want to put their name on it, so they said, well, don't worry about it. But there's been quite a few letters that this year sent out compared to last year, so. We'll see if that'll do them good.
Did you have some people that didn't sign?
Yeah, they won't,
Complain?
they won't put their name on it, yep. So we'll find out how that goes.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know, I won't know anything for probably about the middle of August to see what happens with the complaints, so, because they will get adequate time to take care of it.
I'm not a weed guy, but, I mean, right now, some of that Canadian thistle that doesn't even pay to spray it right now. Really?
Headed out already.
Some stuff is,
What about Creek and Jenny?
that'll be fine, you can spray that whenever.
I think it's pretty hard for us to send letters out to taxpayers of this county about their weeds. And everybody's got them, and including us.
Oh, yeah. We got them.
That's the process. I mean, I don't know if we could say we're not gonna send them any letters or not, I don't know. But if I get a complaint, I'm supposed to.
Because if they're another ag producer, I'll guarantee you they got weeds too.
Oh, yeah.
None of us are exempt, absolutely none, no one. And there is places you can't do anything about it. some of these CRP, new CRP contracts and stuff, you can't go in there and spray the wormwood, because then you kill out the species you planted in there that you signed up to have.
Yeah, but they're supposed to control weeds in that though, correct?
Otherwise they'll pull your payments. That's another way they're trying to
And I called
enforce.
about spraying one of mine, no, you can't spray it, you gotta let it go. Otherwise, I don't qualify for my CRP, and then I don't get paid.
I don't know.
How are we doing
I
with the road?
I was surprised by that answer, 'cause I called in to see
That's coming along.
Dennis what I could spray in there.
There's some roads that have to be sprayed yet, but I'm waiting for them to hit with the grazing restrictions.
We don't
on the
need to
chemical-
wait for them to pay.
For the grazing restrictions on the chemical I deal with the chemical I'm using, otherwise they,
Never had to before. Hey, you know, I don't,
because if they
You want
go,
this one?
wanna go slaughter their cows and they put up hay and feed it to them, then they could get in trouble, they won't be able to sell their cows. So I've been kind of trying to spray stuff that I know that is not hay.
All right, you have nothing else? Thank
No,
you.
that's it, I will let you guys know about those quotes, I'll email them out as soon as I can, I will give them to Becky. And I'll
Alright.
talk to Roger, and, if you guys have any questions, just let me know.
All right, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Becky, is mower jam what's coming?
No, it's gonna be on next meeting.
Okay, let's go to number 8, treasurer's office. Myla won't be here, I don't believe, is she?
I just handed out our monthly report, so.
Is this the one that says how much we transferred from jail income to
That transfer will be done next meeting.
next meeting?
Yep, because that's when Josh is on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Well, so we'll just move by Nyla. Penny?
it's flying this now. I just have for one thing. Just wanted to give you an update on our FLAP program, which is the federal program for Swamp Creek Road. You need to take one of those that has the pay instructions on it. The top sheet is I just kind of summarized everything. Total cost of the project is $3,509,000. It is slated for 2018. They're going to pave the road instead of a double chip seal.
What does that tell us? Pave instead of double chip seal?
Nah,
Over the top of this one?
no. This will all be ground down,
Oh, okay,
reshaped, and paved.
they'll take it off and then reuse.
Our portion of the cost is 17.18%, which is $605,000. I got an email from Paul Beckwith at State from Game Fish and Parks, and they have agreed to pay 50% of that. So they will pay $302,500.
Awesome.
It's cheap.
Oh, 8.3 miles? Yeah. We will be paying, and she could not give me a closer time frame except from August of 2016 to August 2017. $30,000 for engineering fees. And we'll just get the bill sometime and just pay it, and then the $605,000 will come due shortly after the beginning of the 2018 year. So I will bill Game Fish and Parks, they will send us their half share, and then they'll have to go back into our STP funds, and then we'll take the $605,000 out of the STP funds and pay.
That'll be before the project is started.
Yes, we have to pay our share. So, but everything is, in the packet is the signed agreement and the scope, the work schedule, not schedule, but everything that's gonna be done, payment options.
What's like a mat, is it?
I have no idea. That I have not been given that information yet, except it will be paid.
Yeah, did you have something?
I do. I'm just curious if Penny knows, once they start that project, Do you know how long they will be working on that road?
all summer,
Okay.
spring, summer, fall. And there will be meetings held prior to construction in Itasca.
Okay.
And things will be explained, how the process is gonna work. She just said that there will be meetings prior to construction.
And you're thinking the summer of 2018?
Yes, that's when it's slated for, to
Okay.
be done. They'll try and set up a, detour when they can. There'll be no traffic sometimes, some days, and the traffic will be open like at 8 o'clock in the morning, closed for the rest of the day, and then open again like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Boy, that's gonna be hard on Dad in his coffee time.
He's just gonna
I
have to
don't
drink
know
a
if he'll
whole
be
lot
able-
of coffee
I
from
don't know if he'll be able to stand that.
But they will try and, we'll work with them to try and do a detour.
Will we have-
as best we can.
Do you think, like, when it's gonna be closed for a day, or it's only gonna be open before 8 and after 4? Will we have some notice ahead so we can notify? I mean, it's just, I know this sounds picky, but it's huge for us.
I know it is, and I talked to Kelly about that, and then that's why she said the meetings will be held prior to construction, and everything will be explained. And they'll make it as easy as possible. When they can use the pilot car, they will, but she said there will be times when they won't be able to. They'll have to close it for the day.
And I know they want it done, so that's important too. It's
Yeah.
just try to make it as easy as we can.
They'll
Efficient.
work with you guys as best they can, and try to make it as easy on you as they can also, so.
Well, I'm glad to hear they're planning meetings, that's good.
Yes, that is, in the plans, there will be meetings prior to any construction work.
We'll just have to put more gas in their pickup to go to a different boat ramp.
Mhm.
That's not to be figured out.
Yeah,
If they want a good road,
yeah,
it's pretty easy
Yeah,
to figure out.
And they'll seal it and pave it and everything all in the same year.
mhm,
Good deal.
that's my understanding.
I didn't, I just caught one thing in that pen where it said, gotta be completed by December.
Oh, 19, that's all billings
Is
and.
that what that was?
That-
I just seen that date.
Yeah,
It's
that's,
in red, I could,
yeah, that's just the way they do their projects. They always give a whole year for anything that needs to be,
but that's huge that the fish is shoving that much money in.
yeah, same thing for Campbell counties.
Really?
Mhm. But it's going to their parks, so
It's huge.
they're very willing to do that. The only other thing I got is we started chip sealing yesterday, we're not chip sealing today, of course, because of the rain and the wind. But we will start again tomorrow. That's all I got.
Well, Ryan, I know we can jump down a little bit. Do you wanna just discuss that 319 road?
Yeah, while you're here, I already talked to you about it, but,
Yeah, and I got some other information.
okay. I went to Selby City Council meeting, last Wednesday night and brought up the issue, and we had a pretty good discussion about it. I mean, it was very civil and, respectful, but they didn't seem too interested, but I told them I'd come back again, in August and get a decision from them. But just explained our position to them and how we feel like we weren't, consulted about usage of that road and how it's the only county road within the city limits of Selby, and how it would be great for them to not have to come through us to make maintenance decisions on the road, but it was met with the response that I expected, but like I said, they at least heard me out, and it was very civil, so. But yeah, I'll go back in August and we'll talk about it again and see what they say, but I'm not expecting anything big there, so.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
I know.
I'll just give you the update on it. They called me as soon as you left. Did you know that? Anyhow, I was up there after you left, but anyhow, I'm just gonna give you some updates on what they're thinking right now is the city, I'm positive, is thinking, just like everybody else, Northern Plains. I'm not sure about the county here. I can't speak for everybody here. But anyhow, they're looking to pay whatever to redo that right there, asphalt. They are willing to go in on it with Northern, if the county does, the city would. Then I spoke with another individual yesterday, I'm not gonna mention no names, but he's gonna kick in, not the same amount, but it would be a nice little chunk that he would kick in for that part too. I still got one more person to check into to see if they would be willing to put money into that, so I'm just saying, they want it done, we just have to figure out if the county wants to, if we can find the funding for it. But I just wanna tell you that's where it's at so far right now.
Now, you had mentioned last meeting it was gonna be a little over $100,000.
And they think that was on the high side.
Okay. Now, is that just for that 500 feet? Or does that include going north into their property?
Well, you mean like for an approach or something like that?
No.
You mean to
all
go
the
that whole way
up
up to theirs? No, that had nothing to do with that.
Okay. Just through the approach.
Right.
500, that's 500 feet. 100 plus thousand? Yeah, that's a little on the high side.
But look at the thickness too though.
Has an engineer been contacted to determine how thick that's gonna have to be to?
I'm gonna talk to Vilbrandt and talk to the state and see what, so I was gonna talk to Vilbrandt about it.
For the for the radius
Right.
turn, because that's really playing havoc on the road right now, just,
It is, and not on both ends.
yeah.
But I just wanted to kind of give you a little update on how everybody is looking. Like I said, I can't speak for the county. All I know is what the city said, Northern said, what the other person said. Don't have to say no names, you all know who I'm talking about. Anyhow, and then I got another individual I want to speak with, and then I was going to talk to Vilbrandt and see what they say.
How wide are they planning on making that road?
I can't tell you that. Penny would probably know.
Must be at least 24 to 26 feet wide, for severance. And that's gotta come into property.
It's,
Says,
I'd have just assumed they had not done it there.
yeah,
I truthfully wish that they would have, and I talked to Mike about that, I said, why didn't you guys go straight through? Go up to the top of the hill, I said, then everybody could see, I said, there's gonna be a crash there someday, I hope not, but, because there's semis backed up all the time there. I've seen 2 to 3, and you come over that overpass and right there they are, but I said, why didn't you guys go all the way to the north, turn in, and then you would have had a straight shot to 130 to the elevator.
yeah.
Down 130. I said, I'm not quite sure why you guys didn't do that. Hell, I'm just 5'2", don't know nothing.
Kind of late now, I mean, it's
A little
done.
bit.
That's my
Anyhow.
only concern, is the cost.
Right.
Who did they get their quote from?
It was from Jensen's.
Did you realize was something that has to get out, I hope?
Yeah.
Like I said, they just,
You know?
they wanted to just get some figures to see where they're even standing, you know.
Okay.
And so the guy had something to go by, rather than get somebody in there.
My personal opinion is I'm a little tough swallow, $30,000 for 500 feet. But that's you guys' decision.
Well, like I said, guys gotta start with something,
Yep.
and,
When were they planning, when are they looking at
well,
doing this?
the clock is ticking if they're wanting for this year.
Yeah.
There ain't many months left.
I have no money in my budget for that this year.
We get up, Jamie.
Oh, okay, okay.
But anyhow,
We
I
have
just
many
wanted
other
to,
bills we had to pay, so take it out.
Okay,
like I said, I was just gonna talk to Bill Brandt after I talked to another individual and just see what they're thinking.
I did talk to the city about some grant options too, but they'd be a couple of years out with that, because the next funding go around isn't until next July. They just don't have time this year to get it in, so they'd be looking at 18 for construction if they went that route. And there's no guarantee on the funding either. It's the same funds, so pretty sure that they used to do Main Street, you know, it's the same community access grant. But that's what it's for, it's to get from you know, to your elevator or whatever, to where you're storing your grain, your grain
It's
journals.
eggs, so they would be able to. But that's 2 years down the road.
Like I said, I'm gonna talk to Bill Brandt and to the other individual, and then I should have everything, just to give you guys a little update by the next meeting, so.
Okay,
I should know a little bit more.
okay. Cause I gotta get my budget done, and I need to know if I need to include that dollar amount in it for next year, or at least close to it.
Like I said, I'll know a little bit more, hopefully by the next meeting, so.
Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll budget for it.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know as soon as I find something.
Cause when do I have to have my budget in there? Last Tuesday?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So, okay.
All right, anybody have anything for Kenny?
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
No.
Hi, Leah.
Hi. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. I did get a quote from Rogers Hardwood, which is, I think he did a Casca, right? Did you do the, never mind, you guys didn't redo your floors in Casca, did you? Okay. He's done a lot of work, he did the Opera House. Anyway, he's the only one I could find that would be willing to refurbish the upstairs courtroom with all that water damage and stuff. Take it out, put new wood in, sand the whole thing and refinish it and seal it. I did get a quote from him. I will try to get that in your hands. I'm out the doors today for, it's like 10,750. Which the first time we got a quote, it was like 7, but that's been a year and a half ago or so. He's not sure what's gonna be underneath the wood once it pulls it up. So I'd like permission to go forward with that.
How long will it take you to do it?
A week. He wants to do it August 1st. He'd actually had a different day, and I put it with the judge as far as moving court around for that. And the judge said, just get it done. I don't care. We'll do whatever we have to do.
What do you mean by you pulls the floor up?
Well, there's a big chunk. I don't know if you've seen.
Yeah, the T, what do you mean?
Yes, that's gonna have to come up, and as long as there's no damage on the supporting beams underneath, we should be fine. There's a pretty good chance that that wood has absorbed all of the water and that there's no damage underneath, but until we pull it up, we won't know for sure.
Is he replacing all the subflooring?
If he has, but that's not in the bid. There is not, I don't know what there is for subfloor. I'm sure there has to be some, but yeah, yes, that is in the bid, as far as like the plywood or whatever is underneath of that hardwood, yes, that's actually figured in. But if there's any damage to the actual structure, that's not figured in. Also, I did get quotes for both of what we're looking at for carpet. I got quotes from Wade. I will also, they're faxing those back to me. I haven't got my quote from Wade yet because we just picked a carpet. I had Becky and the judge and everyone look at what they thought for carpet colors that would kind of bring out. We didn't make the same mistake and go with the pattern like we did downstairs. I think I was kind of disappointed the way that stuff lined up, but, so I haven't got my quote from Wade. I do have a quote from Riverside. Either way, Sid is gonna be the contractor. He's the only available contractor for Layett. So Sid, and he's the one that did downstairs. Unless we go out of county. So, that might be something. I am currently trying to make it so that we can do both of these things as close to at the same time as possible.
Did you also look into taking up the carpet and just going back to hardwood in a couple spots?
Yeah, and I spoke with the judge about that. There's also, I don't have a money quote for that yet because I'd have to talk. We've kind of considered, and the judge says whatever's easiest, he doesn't care as long as it's clean, we're getting new carpet. But if anyone's interested, there's always the possibility of ripping out the carpet and going back to straight hardwood. But we'd have to do something about, get some acoustic panels or something that would really have to handle that. We'd have to get some throw rugs or something for some really nice carpets for underneath for people to sit, So that's kind of an idea that we're toying with, but it's gonna significantly higher. And I don't know what's under there until we rip out the carpet, I don't know what kind of shape the floor is underneath. So I thought about cutting up a couple spots since we're tearing it out anyway, just seeing what it looks like underneath there. Now, I remember someone telling me at some point that they actually might have taken boards out to patch other places from underneath where the carpet is. So we might pull it up and find out that there's nothing but plywood in certain spots, you know? So, I don't know.
Well, if you were gonna do that, you'd put new hardwood floor to the whole room, wouldn't you?
Actually, he's matching it. Our hardwood floor that we got up there is, right now, is really, really in good shape considering it's been in here for 100 years. If it's in the same shape underneath the carpet, all he'd have to do is fix whatever was, you know, destroyed if there's any problems. He is replacing and he's matching it very well considering that you can't just go out and buy, you know, 100-year-old wood. He is matching that, the place he has to take out, and then he's going to, you know, sand it all down flat and it's gonna look like brand new. Pretty. So that's actually all I got to say about that. I'd just like to mention to go ahead and get him set up to redo the hardwood. And I will get you guys a quote from Wade when he tells me what it's gonna be. Or, I think it was, I can't even remember the number, she just faxed me a copy, but it hadn't come in by the time it came in. I thought I had dealt with it.
Fax line is busy anyway.
Would you just?
Fax line. You won't get a fax while we're on conference call.
That's why. Well, she said she's saying scan an email to me eventually. So, or could I just have permission to take our cheapest, most effective quote for the carpet because we know we're doing it, or do I need to represent?
Well, it's gotta be done.
And we had it at one point.
Yeah. We need a motion to approve that. Didn't we already do it once, or?
We did last year. We just never got to it because of other things.
See why we need.
And it's budgeted for this year, correct?
Yes, it is budgeted for this year.
And if you've already approved it and it's budgeted, I don't think there needs to, and it's not above the bid amount, so as long as you keep the group informed, I think you're fine on what the costs are and what potential problems may be, or if something else comes up where, like we're talking about, maybe the subfloor is all bad or something like that, so.
And if we pull up and we, you know, there's some sort of spectacular reason why we should stay with hardwood, then before I do anything in that manner, I'll 100%. The reason that we didn't get this done, actually, we had budgeted before, was because we had to make sure that there was no water damage. There was no water still being a problem. We didn't want to spend $10,000 putting it forward and then finally getting destroyed again, so.
Just let us know, I guess, keep us informed.
And the judge has been really happy with progress, so.
Yes, I spoke with him last night and he was quite gracious.
Yeah, have they been keeping most of the conditioners on in there?
Yep.
Yes. We got people moisture out.
That'll help the longevity of our heavy filters too, so.
Yeah, those suckers are taking a quicker, I can tell you. I actually built, you know, pre-filters and that seems to help. I just got some cheap, built a little frame and put it in there, and that's cheaper than buying $10 filters and replacing once a month. I just rip the thing up.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see,
Chelsea?
that's fine.
Hi everyone, I'm Chelsea Seabrand. I'll be in charge of the audit this year. And the audit hours be around, we're gonna budget around 300. That can fluctuate depending on if we come across any problems or not, or and last year we were reconciling cash driving, so there was a few more hours put into that, but I think we're advertising assistance. And so, depending on what we come across, I do have the engagement letter in here. I did put, I know Becky's gonna be preparing her notes, but if any assistance needs to be provided, once we get to that point, because the notes from the financial statement, some of that has changed with that net pension liability note. And so, I just put in here, if applicable, that if she needs help, I would be willing to help her and be assistance, so. But basically this management, or this engagement letter just kind of goes, tells you about what we're gonna look at, what you guys would be providing to us for information, all the records and stuff. Our billable rate is in here from FY16, FY17 is not set yet. It's $63.50 an hour, so, but that might change. And so I'll leave that for signatures, and you guys can certainly review it. Also, if there's any concerns anyone has, certainly feel free to come talk to me, or if there's something that you would like us to look at, we can certainly do that. That's not a problem. Dave Slosher, he was in charge of the audit last year. He will eventually be joining me to help me on the audit. He's just finishing up some other audits, so. And it's just a normal audit. You're not an A13 federal grant audit or anything like that, so it's just a normal annual audit, so. Is there any questions for me at this time? Like I said, you can certainly get a hold of me. Becky knows how to get a hold of me, or I'm right there, so.
All right.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Okay, let's go to number 15.
We might as well skip that if we're gonna meet with them next meeting.
Okay. All right, let's go to you then.
Alrighty. Pass some more stuff around here. What I'm handing around here is a new proposed rate sheet. The highlighted items on the front are the ones that I'd like to see changed. The back page is our current rate sheet for comparison's sake. I did remove some things from our current rate sheet, or proposed removing them, because it's not anything really common, and I don't really think we need a separate rate for them, because it's nothing that we see. I mean, fuel barrels, I've seen one in the over 7 years that I've been there, and it's not anything that we really need to charge a special rate for. Same with propane tanks. I think I might have billed out one or two in 7 years. Generally, if people have them, I just refer them to Slater's or to somebody like that who might be able to refurbish them. It's not something I really see much of, but the big rate changes are gonna be the bulk rate for tires. I think they're a little high there after spending some time taking them in and doing some comparisons. So I propose that we lower that down to $250 a ton for bulk rated tires. For the shredded tires, we initially had them at $20 a ton as a kind of a trial period to see if they'd be a useful type material. They are not. So I propose we raise them up to the garbage rate of $37 a ton. Contaminated soil, I think we've been a little low, especially with our space constraints out there and having to manage it and move it around somewhat to get big trucks in. So I decided I think we should raise that rate to $10 a ton to cover that extra cost. And I've been getting some requests for contaminated water, which I don't have a rate for. We've taken it in the past. It's kind of a management headache, but we've only ever taken small quantities in the past, but now I have a request out there for 30,000 gallons, so I figured I'd better establish a rate that reflects the amount of work that it's gonna take to take that material in. So I established that at $48 a ton, which is roughly equivalent to about 20 cents a gallon.
So what do you gotta do with that?
Yeah.
Just,
Well, you have to berm off an area of dirt, and then you have to spread it no more than 1/4 inch per acre. So you can only have 1/4 inch of contaminated water per acre. And then let the sun get rid of it? Yep, just evaporation, and when you're done, you scrape up all the contaminated material, and then you can use it for daily cover. Well, it requires a lot of equipment time, but in the end, we're gonna need to do the excavation anyway, so it's not like, on that end of it, it's that much more work. It's just the hedging the risk of getting another precipitation event on top of it and having to prolong that period where you can't excavate because you're waiting for that additional moisture to go away. So that's why I figured I'd establish a rate that kind of accounts for all of those different factors.
So if you got 30,000 gallons, are you gonna say, well, you can only bring this much in at a time?
The space that we have available is going to dictate how much water we can apply, yeah. Right now we have
a little over 4 acres, we can handle 40,000 gallons, but not much more.
Who, I mean, where would you be getting that from?
This is from down in Gettysburg. It's a facility that just removed some tanks and some contaminated soil
Well,
down
was
there.
that the, yeah, Logan brought the dirt up, didn't
Logan's
they?
brought the dirt. I think it's
Gas
owned by
station.
Cronin, I think.
Yeah, that was a little gas station that burned.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, yeah. And of course, when they're excavating out, they encountered groundwater, they had a bunch of precipitation, so you have to segregate out that water, and apparently land application is the cheapest option for disposal, so they've been kinda, I pushed back at first saying, no, I really don't wanna deal with it, but it seems like an opportunity where we could probably come out ahead a little bit if I establish this new rate, so I figured
That would go into effect, like, today?
And sewer sludge, I also bumped that up to MSW prices. The only places we've ever historically gotten it from is City of Mobridge. And then I had one other place up in North Dakota that we were taking it from. But with our agreement that we have with the City of Mobridge for trading maintenance and that kind of stuff, I haven't really been charging them for the sewer sludge anyway. So I figured I'd adjust that rate to reflect the cost of any outside entities that might want to dispose of sewer sludge with us.
I'll make a deal to approve the new rates.
We're making a motion?
Make a motion to approve the new rates.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor, I'll need a second.
I'll second.
Got a second. Any more discussion on that? Hear none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion passed.
All right, and do we got time for another item here?
I don't know if it's out there or
Here
not.
yet.
You see Linda at all?
Nobody's out there.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll discuss the last item that I have here, which is the response from our insurance carrier regarding the jail fire escape. Doug Kirkus sent me an email. I didn't have time this morning to make copies for everybody. He called me last night though and explained their general position, and their position is that they would like to see that fire escape replaced for liability reasons. And actually, if we can get copies made of this, maybe everybody can get a copy of it to read through it. Like I said, I haven't even had time to read through it completely, but Doug called me and just kind of mixed it and explained what it said and all the research that they've done with the different institutes. They checked with the ACA, they checked with the fire marshal's office, things like that, and they came to a position that they would like to see it replaced because it is, the functionality of it right now is limited at best, and I would say it's really non-functional the way it is currently. So you guys, I don't know if you want to wait until the next meeting and put it on there for approval of replacement, or what you want to do.
Do it on the next meeting.
Okay. And then you guys can read through his letter and see what you think about it.
Anything else, Ryan?
That should do it.
Anybody have anything for Ryan? Kenny, I got one more quick question for you, and I forgot. How's the crushing thing going?
Do it. We got some plastic in the beer.
They had one rain day. That was yesterday. They're working today,
And they were supposed to be done, what, before?
July 1st.
July 1st?
Oh, was this the gravel crushing?
What is,
They moved in July 1st.
they moved in on that.
Started moving in,
What is the penalty per day?
$200.
That's what I thought it
What was that for?
was. Crushing.
And that's why I did it as early as I did.
Never mind, I know I'm dry.
Gave the deadline on July 1st.
I was just kinda curious, so
Yeah.
It's the 12th.
quite a few days already.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, no, that's all I wanted to know, so.
I asked how many ton they had done, and couldn't tell me.
Got this. Keep this one?
But I got
Oh, you do?
And I sent them with my report. They haven't given me a report every 2,000 times.
Okay, well, Linda's not here yet, so let's move on to 17. Law enforcement records management.
As you remember, last year we put that in contingency, waiting for, see if they could get a grant. They didn't. I attended a workshop in Mobridge, and they really need this. It's amazing what that program does. Built a Super Bowl. If you stop somebody, or you'll call in the numbers of
I'm just
dispatch,
gonna wait till they call us in.
send it in right in their car. Everything that guy did, any outstanding warrants. We just cut the paperwork time, in half, or probably the third best time doing paperwork for the reports.
Was it like 100,000 or something like that, was it? Somewhere 50,000?
I think I got it broke down to 55 per budget. I broke it, I split it between 2 budgets. That's all I did.
So
And
it was
still
around
going up.
100,000.
What's that? Right around that 111 total. To get because I need the jail records management, which we don't have. And that's a whole module on its own. But it's incorporated into the same system. So basically, anything, they can tie into that from mine, they can tie into our sheriff's office stuff that the jail needs to know.
I don't know a whole lot about the records either. They did explain to us, you get a call at dispatch, we give them turn by turn, what they call them turn by turn directions. Whatever you call it, an accident or domestic abuse. It's a lot more than just filling out.
And on the sheriff's side, there's the records management for the civil process warrants, which I'll have access to all the time, where right now you got a hard look everything up right now, so.
Is City of Mobridge looking at going into this too?
Yeah, they're looking at going into the same thing. They would put the CAD system in, that would tie into this system.
For their
Also,
dispatch?
Yep. Which would be a cost to them, but we'd be able to tie into that.
As you remember, we took it out of his budget. Wait to see if there was any grants available. From what I understand, there isn't any grants available.
Well, I guess we'll just do that at budget time, we'll discuss that.
It's in the contingency for this year.
And I did put it back into the budget, but I know we moved it to the contingency, but I did build it back in there because I didn't know what the board was gonna do, so. And Becky wanted the budget right now by the end of the month, so that was fine. I just added it in there again. But again, I'm waiting to hear if there's any changes to it. I'm using a year, quote, so.
When is Walworth looking at skipping years?
About the same time. I wouldn't be able to get it installed anyway till probably 2017. So. But they're looking at the same time frame.
Jamie, what do you think? Is it something that's?
Well, I think since it's already a contingency, we should have it start up as soon as possible, because all the other counties are going along with this, and we've got to get the forefront of that and get it done, so that the other counties can communicate with it. If we don't get this done, the other counties can't communicate with it, so I think we have got to go on it right now.
It's the program that everybody's basically going to. Highway Patrol flipped over to it just recently. And a lot of it goes online where all the reports just get emailed to you and things like that. The only thing I would check is see what City of Mobridge is going to do, because if their dispatch like you were talking about, it'd be kinda nice to know if their dispatch is going to go to it, or if their department's going to go to it all together, because then of course that's gonna affect us. Because if their dispatch isn't on it, you're not gonna be able to utilize a lot of the product.
They will be doing it. It's just a matter of, but I talked to the captain and they're going forward with it. They wanna change out from their system now. And basically what'll happen is if anybody that's currently on the system using Zerker, Highway Patrol, they can tap into that record can be drawn up if they've got a record, let's say Walworth County. Or I can flag something, an individual that's 1050 or use caution, a real not in.
Is there any
And
kind of package
they
deal?
can pick up on that. What's
If
that?
we all roll at the same time, is there any kind of package deal if the county and the city all roll at the same time at dispatch?
We tried doing it as a regional thing, and no one knows what they want and need. I need the records management, the jail module, the civil process, all the billing, there's billing with it. Right now I'm using Word documents. It's a pain in the butt.
I would assume we're gonna end up going to it, it's just when you wanna go to it. Do you wanna pull it?
What does it cost, what's the yearly fee then? What's all that kind of stuff? You might have told us before, man.
Yeah, I supplied all that information before. I don't have it with me.
I'm just curious.
I'd have to check, Scott. I don't want to say a number and not know, it'd be off, so I don't have it sitting in front of me.
I'm kind of agreeing with what Jamie's saying, you find out exactly what the overage is, and if you, I'm guessing it has something to do with the 9/11 system there.
I don't know enough about it, but, if you're in the contingency right now and it's already budgeted, if you want to go with it this year,
Like Campbell County, they're not gonna get a jail module. They'll probably get a records management, which is gonna completely be a different cost. I still have to spend that money over there because I need the jail module portion of it to make that part work. The PD doesn't want the jail module. They'll have access to those records if they need to pull up a booking photo, but I'll have access to their computer-aided dispatch, which with anybody with MDT, the call is transmitted right to your mobile data terminal in the car, which I've got 2 of them in the 2 main patrol cars, so that are out on the road a lot. I don't have one, not on the road as much as they are, but they're able to run their stuff right from the car on the teletype system.
does that all come from dispatch?
Nope, that comes directly from the inlet system, from the state. If I stop Jamie, I can run his driver's license and his license plate right from the car.
So you wouldn't even need to use the dispatch then to call?
Well, we do if they're dispatching a 911 call for an assault or an accident.
But if you pull me over, you won't have to call in for driver's
still-
license status or any of that.
What happens is, we let them know of the call, they generate a traffic stop for us, and we can automatically status check ourselves, otherwise they're constantly status checking us, and it communicates directly with that dispatcher at that terminal. On the computer-aided dispatch side.
Even if they don't have it? Even if they don't have the
Have the
program?
same system.
No, they'll need the system to make it work. But- And 911 funds would be, is my understanding, are gonna be.
The only thing I would say is let's find out if Woolbridge is gonna go with it, by the end of this year, or if
The
they're
only
just.
thing is, I don't wanna do that, because then I'm waiting. I need
You wanna
something.
get started now and.
Yes, because I don't know if they're gonna do it for sure, 100%, but I still need a system here.
In my mind, we got no contingency, so I moved that, I make a motion, we, go with the records management.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor, I'll need a second.
I'll second it.
Got a second? Any more discussion on that?
Yeah, where is this gonna be paid out of? There's not enough money in commissioner contingency to cover it.
Well, we put in contingency last year, for our budget time.
Well, there was 125,000 for the commissioner contingency. That's what we put in every year. But 19,000 of that has been spent, so I think there's some confusion here on what you're talking about, where it's at.
You're talking about doing it over 2 budget cycles, is that right?
Yeah,
And that's coming up.
which we can do.
And you have it budgeted
What's
for
that?
in your budget?
No, it was taken out.
We took it out, put it in
No, it was
contingency.
taken out, so it's not in there this year. I put it back in for the upcoming year. Yeah.
Okay.
Is where I
If you're
put it
gonna
back
pay
in.
it within 2 years, we might be able to have to cover it, but right now, there's one, we paid 19,000 out of contingency for that weed spraying bill that was due in 15, that was never paid. We started with 125, so, we're not 10 left. So if we're gonna do it over 2 years, then it'd be probably fine.
Well, I thought we took 111,000 out of Josh's budget and put it in contingency for this program last year.
We budget 125,000 for contingency. Ryan, do you remember what all happened with this?
I remember them saying I think the discussion was if it's approved, we could do a budget supplement for it. That's what I remember.
Yeah, so contingency covers the whole county.
We're restricted to 5% contingency anyway, aren't we,
Yeah.
Becky? So, I mean, we wouldn't have been able to put it in there in addition to what we normally do anyway. So I think the
that's
discussion
what
was
the
budget
discussion was,
supplement.
budget supplement, which would be a formal supplement.
And like I said, it's probably, probably not gonna take place till 17. I mean, it depends on when they can get here to even install it. I don't know if they even have the time to do it right now. Then they're doing some other installs at Metro and in Sioux Falls and.
Because the ideal thing would be is kind of like you're talking about is pay the first half on December 31st and the second half January 1st if they're gonna be able to come in 2017, but if they're not gonna be able to come until, say August of 2017, do you wanna do it 2017 and 2018's budget, then split it? Or,
What I'm not quite understanding is, let's say Mowbray says they're not gonna do it. What if Mowbray says they're not gonna do it, we can't afford it? Let's just say that.
It's still useful as a standalone project.
Yeah, but I
from
mean-
what I've seen.
Basically,
still
you
have
need
to
Mowbray there, don't you, for?
Just for the
9/11?
dispatch end of it, yeah, but the rest of it, all the jail records management, the accounting module, that's a part of it, all of the police records, I mean, that's standalone regardless of whether you have that CAD module on there or not, I mean, it's just, it would still help you out with your civil process and running that too, from what I've seen, whether or not you have that CAD module.
Yeah, that's a whole different module to it. I mean, as far as the records management, sheriff's office side, that, obviously the two are gonna tie together, but jail it's a whole nother records management system. It uses a different one. I can tie into it and still look up stuff, and then it's the same system, but it's a separate module built for jails.
And if you have it
From
for your
booking
jail.
to, meals and, days owed, days sat, I mean, it breaks it all down.
If you have it for your jail, you're gonna wanna have it for your officers too, so that, you can transfer all the arrest data right over to the jail as well. So, I mean, those two kind of tie together as well.
Yeah, if they're checking something within the jail and they can get a hit out of my office that I have civil process, we gotta call it after he's got civil process on him. We just gotta serve papers, or he's got a warrant in the system. They'll get those kind of hits. And they can call somebody up, hey, can you verify this? Yes, we have the papers.
Yeah, the whole thing really sings once everybody gets on board and dispatch is on board, then you got all the gears clicking, but even without that particular part of it, it's still a useful useful system.
It's law enforcement based, it's big, it's made for that particular component.
Cause I think when they demoed it for us last year, they weren't even necessarily taking into consideration Mulbridge getting on board with dispatch, and they still showed us everything that
I didn't even know they were interested until Jordan approached me and asked me what we were doing. And I told him what we were looking at, and then we just had that other seminar there, not that long ago over in Mulbridge. And they've been here a couple times, 2 different demos up here.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
I
Aye.
think we should wait and put it in the budget. Once it's in the budget, we can have to do a supplement. If we can get it started by January. That way, Mulbridge knows that we're on board starting in January. And they'll know where they're at. Get it all started in January. I'm not opposed to getting it done, I'm just opposed to when. So we don't have to keep doing these budget supplements. We're looking at fire escape over there, everything else.
I know.
We're gonna be way over budget.
That's why we're
in this year.
That's why I need the board to
We're gonna be way over budget.
make a vote on it. That's why we're doing it. So
It's already gonna be over. I can't justify adding this on to it on top of everything else. Put it in the budget, and I think it'll fly in the budget for next year.
well, thanks for the consideration, and we'll, like I said, I did add it in there, so, and I'll,
The whole amount
yeah.
in this year, in next year's budget.
Yeah. I just wanna make sure that no numbers changed. I'm just waiting to hear back from them, because I was using old numbers, so
Maybe it went down.
hopefully. Hopefully, Scott.
I doubt that.
Everything goes down.
Should we take a 5-minute break?
Ken? I'll call the meeting back to order.
Okay. Like I said, the rates have gone up. I'm gonna pass these down.
Vince too.
Oh, yeah. I've gotten paid for, I might as well use the stupid one.
Thing to suck up.
Whatever you say.
How did you know mine went dry?
All right, there's plenty here in case you need them. Alrighty, I think presently, which I find interesting, and you are basically on a 1,000 deductible, 3,000, if I'm correct, right? You're paying $25 off as co-pays, you've got your coverages. All right, let's go into the plan. On the left, mine was on the left-hand side, I'm not sure where yours was at. I quoted, the plan that I've got for 1,000 is a 2,000 out-of-pocket max, so I'm not sure if Jesse has something that I don't have. I can't answer that. That's needless here, say here, there. We're both well marked, so we both do it that way. I started out with a 4,000 deductible, a 3,000, the 1,000 is what you're on, and a 2,000 HSA, which is a health savings account. I talked about it last time. The health savings account will work kind of sort of for you guys, but it does make things a little complicated. Once we get into the coverages, let's go right to the base plan. Let's just eliminate this. And we can get into the coverages, but the bottom line is that what happens with us is we go through a base group. So we come on to base and say, okay, this is what they're presently paying for their $1,000 deductible. How can we help them out, save them some money, and yet still keep the deductible in place for the client? So that's basically what we've done. You see on that side, you've got base, you've got a 3,000 and 6,000 family. All right, right here.
This is the 4,000 deductible, let's go right to the bottom. At a 30% usage, which I'm telling you guys, you're 30 to 50% usage with what you've got for claims. I did not have access to your total claims right now like I did last year, but I did pull up a few of them, and I don't think the claim situation has changed any, okay? So at a 30%, what happens is that the employee gives them $1,000, the employee pays the $1,000 deductible top line, $2,000 for the family. The HRA employer pays $3,000 and $6,000. So what happens on that, and that's on the 30%, and I want to talk the 30%, I don't even want to go down to the rest, because I know we've got high usage in this group. That's all there is to it. We've got a group that gets used. So when we go down and do that, by saving that premium on that $4,000 deductible, you're saving $151,000 a year, just by going to that $4,000 deductible. Now, as you look on that very bottom, you've got an annual administration fee of $600 or $1,608. That's that base that we call. This is a business entity that implements the HRA. So it's called a health reimbursement account is what it's called. So what happens is if you go to a higher deductible, when that client or the employee still only has the $1,000, you meet the rest of it on that $3,000 if they need it. Those papers go to base. Base comes back and says, yes, cut them the check for that. So you're basically self-employing is what you're doing, to a tad bit, okay? Yes, you've got the insurance company there to back you, but not 100% of your clients are going to use all their deductible. I will tell you 30 to 50 do. Even at a 50% usage, you're going to save $100,000 doing this. And that is a chunk of change. Now, let's go to the next page. That is the $3,000 deductible. The employee pays $1,000, the employer pays $2,000, and so on and so forth. Down there's your risk. Again, at the 30%, just do the top line. You'll save yourself roughly $140,000 a year just by going to that plan. But again, base is implementing all of this. So you don't have the work, Becky. This is not your problem. This paperwork goes right into base. They come back and they'll write Becky a note that's saying reimburse Scott Schilling $3,000, $2,000, whatever plan you so choose. Okay, that's how it works. So that Becky does not have to deal with this. That's what you're paying that $1,600 a year for on that base fee. So when you go down to the bottom on the 30% usage on that $3,000 plan, you're saving $140,000 a year doing that. Now I know I muddied the water with this last year. You all just looked at me like, oh God, what is this? This works, guys. This works really, really well. I've done a ton of them on small group for farmers. And base just handles it, takes care of the paperwork for us, and we're done. And if I have a problem, I call them, and I don't have any issues with base whatsoever. That just happens to be the name of the company that they use. There's other companies out there. Now, the last one I did, was an HSA. Now this is interesting because I went with a $1,000 HSA. Let's talk about a health savings account. Health savings account is no co-pays, no money up front. You pay the first $1,000. Then the company, now, and actually because it's a health savings account, they end up paying $1,300. You would pay the other $700 to meet the out-of-pocket max for them. These are the laws. It can't be $1,000. It's $1,300 and $2,600 for a family. That's how it goes. But this is a marvelous program in the sense that they can put $5,000 a year away in this health savings account, pre-tax money, guys. Accountants absolutely love this. So when they do have medical bills, vision bills, dental bills, it comes right out of that health savings account, which is a debit card. It's set up that way as a debit card. They pay that. But that's pre-tax money for the client. And you're still sitting, and once you've met your total out-of-pocket max, everything's covered 100%. There's just no co-pays, there's no nothing to deal with. Now $1,000 for this group is nothing. It really isn't. And if you want a rich plan, that's a rich plan. Is it a little tough for them to understand the first year? I'll be doing some hand-holding if that's what you decide to do. Basically, they need to set up their own savings account in their own institution, bank institution. They are given a debit card. That debit card is what they use to pay their medical bills with. So they make sure that money's in that savings account. It's pre-tax money. They don't get taxed on it. It's tax-free. Now, that bank account does not need to be used every year in its entirety. It can roll over. Here's the really nice thing. At the age of 65, it can be used to pay your premiums for your Medicare subs. So there's some perks on this thing. It's just that it's a little more complicated to use. I still think it's a very rich plan. They're still gonna pay their $1,000 deductible. In this case, it's gonna be $1,300. That is law. That's all we can do with that. But again, you're still looking at, it isn't as big a scenario, but you're still looking at $138,000 savings down the bottom of this. This is a rich plan. They're still basically getting the $1,300 deductible, and that's all they're getting. And I think that's doable for that kind of price money. But, okay, let's go to something else that I hopefully threw at you.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
If their responsibility is 1,300, why would they put 5,000?
That's what the law says they can do.
They don't have to put.
They do not have to put anything in there if they don't want. I tell my people with their health savings accounts, when the bills come due, dump that money in there and pay those medical bills out of there. If you don't have money to be putting in that savings account, then don't. But use it to pay your medical bills because it's tax-free money. We don't pay taxes on that money going in, okay? You understand how that works, guys? If you don't ask, I mean, but that, they have a limit of up to, and I think once you're over 55, it's an additional 1,000. I think you can go 6,500 a year on that. So if you want to shelter some money somewhere tax-free, that's the place to do it. Now, you have to use it for medical expenses. Vision, dental, or it rolls over. If you don't, then it becomes taxable at that point. So if you take out $3,000 to pay off your car payment that month or whatever, that's taxable. But if you use it for medical, it's just a way to shelter money. Farmers seem to love that once in a while. We won't get into all that, but I'm just saying, even maybe your employee, maybe they're in the next tax bracket with the husband working, and they want to put money in there, that'll pull them out of that. But they have to use it for medical. It can roll over to the next year. Maybe their tax bracket won't be as good next year. You know, who knows? Their earnings won't, that money rolls over. It does not have to be spent every year. Okay?
Eventually, you could put $5,000 in
Every year.
3 years, you could have 15,000 in there.
Yes. Now, on this plan, I did quote vision. The vision coverage has gotten better. It's about $7 a month per person. You will get your money out of that. You're looking at $70, $80 a year. With what they're paying out for frames, we do now have a provider in Mobridge finally. Vision Care takes that. My clients are liking it. It's saving them $300, $400 on frames and lenses. Still isn't enough, but they're getting their money back out of that $7 a month. So I did throw the vision coverage in there. It is in your quote. You know, it's all there. The other thing we need to talk about a little bit is called and I think you've got it in there, and I don't know if I have it in here, it's my qualm, is a cafeteria plan. A cafeteria plan is set up again by base, and that wouldn't work as well with the HSA. Do we have anybody here that has daycare, for example? Okay, they're paying daycare. With that cafeteria plan, base sets up that you could draw X amount of dollars out of your paycheck up to a limit and put that in the cafeteria plan. Again, you get a credit card or a debit card, as you want to call it. So you can use, that's pre-tax money. Again, that's pre-tax money. So if you don't do an HSA, the cafeteria plan is really a good way to go about it. It takes care of they can also take care of your medical expenses. For example, you set up, I want $200 a month taken out of my paycheck to go into that cafeteria plan. You can use that money then to pay your medical bills, okay? Or you can use that money to pay daycare. And it is pre-tax money. Here's where it helps you guys. You don't have to pay FICA on it. When it's taken out of their paycheck, it's pre-tax money. You don't have to pay FICA on it. So that's a savings to you right there. I believe you've got it in there, don't you? I'm the only one that doesn't have it with me. Yeah, let me grab it quick. But it's daycare, all medical.
After school, yeah.
This is worth its weight in gold, guys. It's $350 to set up for the year. I'm telling you, I don't care what you do, I think you need to set up a cafeteria plan for your people. If they choose not to use it, you know, then it's something to look at again. Now, note that all the rates that you are looking at do not have that 18% increase. It's too early, we can't, you add 18% to it, it's what's gonna be next year. You understand where I'm coming from with the AP? Yeah, ouch, Scott looks at me.
I think I predicted the increase for next year is $86,000 on the present plan you're on. Now, before you start grumbling too much about the 18% interest or increase, first off, you're not a healthy group, so that's something you know. But you are in the state pool, so you are spreading that throughout the whole state. It's not just your own group anymore, I don't believe, right, Jesse? They're in the state pool. See, I don't know what they did with you last year for sure. So you've got that you're spreading. The individual plans in the last 2 years have gone up 85%. Makes that 18 look pretty reasonable. I mean, so when you're looking at an individual market, we're getting hammered. We're absolutely getting hammered out there. So that's why this is a really good plan for your people. And you always say you need a rich plan, you want to keep your employees. I got news for you. Right now, they couldn't afford health insurance if they left you. And that isn't a joke. It's very, very expensive on it. Unless they go to another group. They go to another entity that offers a group. I do have a question for you guys on the group. Do you have a 60-day waiting period on your group, or are they on automatic when they're hired? They're an automatic hire, okay. You know, those are things you can control a little bit too. I've gone to the 60-day waiting period to make sure that they're going to stay there before you offer them that benefit, so you're not going on and off with them all the time. The other thing I looked at, and I think Becky sent me this stuff, can you guys clarify for me what you're paying for the family? Are you we had this discussion last year, but it looks to me like the only thing the family's paying is $500.
$499.18.
I want to work for you. I really want to work for you guys. That is tremendous what you're offering your families. I'm very surprised you only have 8 families on there. I really am. Because it's a very, very nice benefit. Very nice benefit. All right, I've thrown a lot at you. Those are the plans, those are the savings. I recommend this base highly, just because of what it can do for you. It won't be any more paperwork. Yes, it's gonna cost you $1,600, but on the very bottom line is exactly what your savings are for each of those plans.
And it's gonna cost, when you say you, that means the board, not,
That's the savings for the entire county.
well, I mean the 1,600.
That will cost the county commissioners to implement these, yes. Yeah, it's just an accounting bill is what it amounts to.
That's what I thought. I just wanted
Yep.
to make sure it wasn't.
1,608, no matter which way it's used. Utilization is going to be a huge issue. As far as your plans, nothing has changed that I know of. We're also dealing with something a little early. We haven't really been told if there's any new plans coming off of the market. We don't know if there's any coming on. See, last year I quoted this at a $2,500. It's off the market. We took it off. Can't even use it.
Are all the numbers that you're talking about plus 18%? So it's $1,600 plus 18%?
No, that 1,600 is a flat cost for base. Your actual insurance markets are your 18%. Okay, that's your actual insurance markets, is where you're at with that. As far as the plans, your WellCare's in them. Anybody under 26 or 19 gets the vision and dental. We're adding the vision on this, doesn't have to be. That's just a perk I put in there because we didn't quote it last year. It's seeming to pay off for the amount of money that it's costing. And maybe you want to leave that up to the individual. You're talking $80, $90 a year. I mean, you're not talking a lot of money here. If they want it, they want it. Although that's not true. I'm sorry, I got to replace that. It's the group all or none. So if you do the vision, you got to do the vision. But it's turned out to be very lucrative. It really has. I mean, if you can get $400 back out of it every year, you're doing okay on that plan. And it's a Visas, and you'll have your own card for that. So there's just a lot of red tape. But as far as the plans, your WellCare's built in. Again, your colonoscopy, if it's classified as routine, there's no co-pays on that. There's no deductibles on that. A lot of it is the coding. And I'm sure that's where we have some problems coming back, although I've never heard you complain about bills not being paid. So Walmart must be doing okay with you, other than you did say to me that the monthly bill has a tendency to fluctuate. But the reason that fluctuates probably, Becky, is you're on and off. I mean, you've probably got people coming on, you got people going off, so that's done on a daily, that's accounted for per day.
So that's why your bills are probably fluctuating. So staying on top of that, yeah, is probably a tad bit of a nightmare. I don't deny that. But as far as claims, I think we're doing better. ACA has gone through enough. Everybody has universal codes. No insurance company should be using any other codes. So we should be good to go on that. Any questions? I know I hit this fast, but I hit it last year too, so.
Okay, so what did you say, like an office visit, what's the copay for that?
Well, if you go on the which plan? All right, here, let's go into the sheet that I gave you. This one that says Walworth County. Okay? If you will go to, I think, 3rd page, that will tell you what your copays and what your office funds are and so on and so forth. See, that $1,000 plan you're on right now is, I've got $1,000, $2,000 on that. That's a $20 copay. I believe you're paying $25 right now and a $50 for specialty. You know, so it's not a plan I even had offered to me through my group. So I don't know where that came from. You still have it, Jesse?
It's a pre-ACA plan. It's not even.
Okay, so it isn't, this, what you've got them on is not an
They're a
ACA.
grandmother plan.
Okay, so they're grandmothered in, when do they have to come off?
They
One more year?
They're extending renewal to 2018 possibly.
Okay,
It all
see,
depends on
that's,
what happens with
the
the.
grandfathered plans hopefully will never come off. Yeah,
They-
never's a long time.
They might be coming off in 18 too. It all depends what
It
happens.
tends, the
Supreme Court.
grandmothered plans you'll have to change at some point, but right now they're giving us a little leeway. And this is a true ACA plan. So my 1,000 and 2,000 is a different plan than what he's got. But it's also cheaper, so I just don't, so you're on your own merit yet then?
Mhm.
Yeah, you're on your own merit, that's why.
Yeah. But
There's the
as far
difference.
as the 18%, Linda, we don't know because they are on their own
Yeah.
merit. So that's gonna be,
Well, and yours, it's gonna be your own.
yeah, that's our own deal.
ACA plan is going up 18%, so
Yeah.
we don't know what you're gonna offer.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, since you're on your own plan, that will depend on the usage of it. So that explains the differences in the plans. That's why I said it's very strange that we both sell Wellmark and I didn't have this 1,000, 3,000. So that's why, because it is an older plan, okay? As far as, they don't also have probably the well care built into that either? You don't have a colonoscopy built
No,
in
not
it?
the colonoscopy.
No. So those old plans, they're good plans, don't get me wrong, those are good plans. But they are on their own merit, where now with the new plans that I just offered, that's spread throughout the whole state. So that's a state merit thing. Again, you might only have a 5% increase next year, I don't know that. That would be wonderful. I wouldn't hold my breath. Not if the others are going up that much, I would not hold my breath. But again, as long as you're with Wellmark, guys, you've got a great plan. I'm not gonna tell you don't. You know, I'm just trying to save you some money down the road here. And this base thing really has worked out well for my farmers. I can't imagine why it wouldn't work for you guys. So at that point, we could even do the 1,000, 2,000 at what I've got to offer you and still save money. And then you don't have any implementation.
On this base, there would be no,
Base is an accounting firm that does all this for you.
so if I go to the pharmacy and get my prescription filled, it costs $175, I pay that until
On the
I,
HSA, now which plan? No, on your co-pays, depends on which plan you choose. When you choose a 1,000 deductible, you will, all your drugs are $5 generic, 35 tier 2, 70 tier 3. So if it's a $125 drug, you're probably paying $35.
oh, okay, I thought
If you're gonna
maybe
use
you
the
had to pay
copay.
that before you,
Now, if you do the HSA, yes, you do. The HSA, you pay everything up front. When you met your $1,000 or $1,300 deductible, you're done for the year. So that is, like I say, and accountants absolutely love that plan, just because you can filter money into it to cover those expenses. And that doesn't work for everybody. The wage earner probably not as good as the individual, but it's still a way of doing that. This cafeteria plan kind of works the same way that base offers. Again, an accounting thing. Costs you $350 the first year to set it up for all your employees. They can put money into it, and they can use that money pre-tax. The break to you guys is no FICA. You don't have to pay a FICA on the money that they pull out and put in that cafeteria plan. That's 7.65%. So that adds up. on a few employees. So I've thrown 3 other things at you again this year. But last year you didn't give me a lot of time to throw anything at you other than one.
We were
So,
kinda to the last hour last year, it seemed like.
you know, so we've got a ton here to look at. But I'm gonna tell you, that cafeteria plan, I think Jesse can do that too. I know he can. So no matter which route you go, I highly recommend that cafeteria plan.
So how is Becky gonna know when she's paying federal excise tax, or when she withholds?
That money, when it goes into that, is pre-tax money. She doesn't consider it.
How is she gonna know that?
Well, they're gonna set up how much they want taken out every
Oh,
month.
she will take it out and send it?
Yes, she's gonna take that
I'll
out.
take it out as pre-tax.
Oh, I see, okay.
You know, so that will save you some money on that cafeteria plan. I can't recommend that enough. It's gonna take them a little while to get used to using it, but it's a good thing for everybody. It's great for you guys, it's great for the employee. I mean, it's just nice to have it there. The daycare thing is awesome. You know, I don't know if that involves a lot of you, but probably not, Scott. Probably not, but,
How many daycares take credit cards?
well, it's a debit card. I think you could probably go take that to the bank and just get the check. I'm not real sure how that would work, but that's, you know, I don't know how many do anymore, but I bet we're gonna start seeing more and more of it all the time. Because everything's done on your phone.
Any of them that take debit
Not
cards.
probably in our area right now, but I would bet you're still gonna be able to get it out. All you have to do is withdraw it. So it's just a matter of getting the withdrawal. And we'll have to make sure that's set up that way when you do the cafeteria plan, because we're not in an area that does a lot of that for daycare. So those are things you're gonna have to look at setting up different. And that's Base's problem. That's not my problem, that's not your problem. Let Base figure it out.
It's the employee's problem.
Well, no, it's gonna be Base's problem. The employee's got the money set aside, he's gonna be protected, and that's the way it needs to be. Base is gonna have to figure it out. So,
But if it's a debit card, how will they know if they're using it for items that are not considered pre-tax? I mean, you know, because it's
I
taken out
have
pre-tax.
no idea how they
would Base
monitor
know?
that. I have no idea how they monitor that. I would imagine you're gonna go to your account with that stuff and deal with it at tax time. At some point, it will catch up with you, so it's not something I'd abuse intentionally. Don't kid yourself, IRS will find out if something's really going funky, and that's the last thing you guys need going on either, is that your cafeteria plan's being abused. So,
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you don't know if an employee's not gonna go and take out $100 for.
and if they do, then it's taxed.
Whatever they want.
Then it's taxed, it has to be taxed.
But that,
So I think they're gonna have to submit receipts at accounting time for tax purposes, is what I would suspect is gonna have to happen. You know, I have not set up a ton of cafeteria plans, I've seen them, I haven't dealt with enough large, small groups if they want them. But in your guys' case, I think it'd be a real plus for you, I really do. It's good money for you. And maybe if you wanna go with 1,000, 2,000, and maybe you wanna give them $15 or $500 put in their cafeteria plan for the year. You know, whatever you guys decide, you can do that too. So there's things like that to work with. All right, how many more problems did I cause?
I'm a slow thinker, so I'll think about it next week.
Or next month?
Yeah.
Well, you've got the packets in front of you. I take phone calls, guys, so don't worry about it. I mean, it's there. And if I have problems, I just send you right to Base. There's a pretty young lady that will talk your ear off, so Cassie does fine. All right, any other questions for me?
Mostly they're still on a $25 copay.
Not most. No. If you look at them.
That's what I was trying to,
Nope. All right, let's go to that third page. Go down to office services professional positions. You've got 40 on the 4,000, 25 on the 3,000, and 20 on the 1,000. And then, of course, the HSA deductible applies. Now, remember, on this new plan, how this is different, right now, you're probably paying co-pays no matter what. Correct, Jesse? You'll pay co-pays all year long, whether you've met your deductible or not. Not on this plan. On this plan, you will, once your deductible is met, you're done. Co-pays and everything, medication, it's covered. Co-pays go away on this plan. So there's some perks to this plan. The real downside to this plan is I never quite know what it's doing actively for rate increases. I mean, it's been, last year was 5%, it was heavenly. You know, so it just depends. As the pool gets bigger and if it continues to get unhealthier, then of course we're gonna deal with some of that. But we've got a lot of, and I really suspect next year, and I think Jesse can say the same, there's gonna be some massive changes no matter what. we've got some big things coming down the pipe that, no matter who's in office, things are gonna change. It's just how drastic.
Okay,
Alrighty?
Well, now we can look at them tomorrow.
Yeah, well, it gives you a little time to go ahead and do this. Again,
you wanted to get it set up now, so.
yep, give me a phone call if you have any questions. And I thank you for your time, guys. Nothing
you.
else for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You'll probably get them phone calls.
Well, that's what I'm here for. So, I think Mr. Dwayne Martin sent me emails last year, so that's acceptable too. You've got my email? Yep, so if you guys need it, go for it, okay? Thank you, guys. You bet.
You don't need a break?
Nope.
No.
We're confused, keep getting confused.
So we're in the insurance world, like Linda said, we don't know what the rates are gonna be, for the renewal. Or we won't know, it's usually 60 days out. What we can do is request expedited rates, at least get a feel for what your particular group's gonna do. If you, like Linda said, if you're on an ACA plan, we would know that it's going up 18%. Since you're not in an ACA plan, we're on a grandmothered plan, we don't know what those rates are doing, because you guys are an individual, like she said, merit rate. In visiting with a couple folks, I think one option that we can look at is we do have the other carriers that offer group coverage in South Dakota. We do have Stanford, we do have Avera, and we do have Dakota Care. Basically, I always like to talk about those carriers in terms of a pipe. The larger the pipe, the larger the network. You're looking at Walmart. That's definitely your largest network that's out there as far as doctors, physicians, hospitals, clinics, all that kind of stuff. As you tighten up that pipe, which would be probably an Avera, the rates are usually a little less, but you also have a pipe that you've got to follow and go to make sure you're staying in network and not paying those higher costs. Stanford's is getting bigger. Stanford's network is growing. There seemed to be a little bit of a transition from Wellmark over to the Stanford plan. I made some notes and just trying to figure out exactly what we're looking at. There's a lot of different options when it comes to group health, and we do a lot of group health, large group and small group, for commercial businesses and counties. The big driver I know is premium, and trying to figure out how is that costing the county and the taxpayers and how we're gonna offset that. The one thing that I'd always caution everybody on, especially when we're talking HRAs or health reimbursement accounts, is sometimes it affects the employees a little more than what it affects those that are making the decisions. We do have some clients that have HRAs, and they like them. I think there needs to be a definite black and white, what's an HRA versus an HSA, because it can get confusing, and you can cross that line pretty hard. Me personally, I'm on an HSA, a health savings account through the state, through Katie's employment. Love it, absolutely love it. We take a monthly check or monthly out of her check, goes directly into the HSA account, and we pay our medical bills out of that pre-tax. And it is a savings, it's a savings. It doesn't matter if you're making $20,000 a year or $40,000 a year. In my opinion, anytime you can save 15% on your tax bill and put a little money into an HSA, that's a great thing. The issue is, and I found it firsthand when we switched over last year, you go to the doc, it's $130. It's not 25 bucks. It's kind of, you get a sticker shock when you get that first bill. The beauty of it is once you hit that out-of-pocket max, there is no more bills. And if you are on some medications, if you do have a catastrophic situation happen, there is no co-insurance. It's just you hit that out-of-pocket max, all the bills are taken care of for the year. I can tell you from an administrative standpoint, Becky, it can be a nightmare. I have some business owners that getting it set up is a little tough. What I would do if you are thinking about moving to an HSA is you need to have a standard practices of, all right, this is when we sign up, this is how much you have to choose to put in, and we're not changing that. Because if you give employees the option, to be honest with you, what will happen is we're not gonna put any money in there until something happens. Then we run the back and say, I need to put $500 pre-tax into this HSA, and you don't have the account numbers or anything. So it's either you set it up at the beginning, at enrollment time, or you're missing out for the year with that pre-tax dollars. Not saying you can't put money in post-tax into that HSA, but it doesn't do you any good. The cafeteria plan, I can shed a lot of light on that as far as dependent care, they call it, because I've got 3 kids and they're all in daycare today. But the debit card thing, yeah, that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is it's just a reimbursement. What I do is I get my bill from daycare, I scan it in. There's a portal, basically, that you upload that receipt, that money gets direct deposited into my checking account after they look at it and they administer it that way. So to answer your question, I know that sounded like a concern of how that works. It's pretty seamless. It's really not that bad to get that money back from the cafeteria plan. The key I see with the Wellmark, and I think Linda, it sounds like both of us agree, Wellmark is the place to be. The great thing is they also have their own cafeteria plan set up. We call it the flex plan. So you can set it all up, and what the beauty of it is let's say you set up a medical plan, a cafeteria plan for $50 a month. You're taking $50 out pre-tax, it's going into that flex plan. If you go to the doc and you got a $50 copay and there's money there, Wellmark's talking to each other, they're gonna deposit that $50 into your checking account. There is no, it's seamless. That part is really neat to watch and really neat to see how that works. I guess my purpose of the meeting today was kind of feel what's shaking. I know it was a rush time last year. I kind of want to lay out timelines, just as far as expectations go. Just because our world is 60 days out, and I know that for decision making it's hard, and I get that. So if anything I can do, I mean, we'll certainly try to get those rates earlier. It'll help you guys make a decision. And the options you can do is gap coverage. I have one group that's on gap coverage, meaning it kind of sounds, I'm not familiar with this CARE program, but it sounds similar to gap, and my only concern with that is it an actual, if you're just sick, or do you have to have X, Y, and Z happen to you for it to pick up the difference? And that I don't know. That would be an answer, or a question to answer. And to help supplement with that deductible situation that it sounds like. But, I guess that's my meeting, I guess, and just let you know kind of how our world, our weird world works, so. Is the cafeteria plan something that piques your interest?
Sounds good to me, but do you get that tax break when you're doing your taxes at the end of the year too, or is it just you get it one way or the other?
So the cafeteria plan, the way it works is employee decides to do $100 a month pre-tax. Again, I wouldn't, you either take it or leave it at enrollment time. It's not something that you can change down, 3 months down the road and say, I want to do it now. You say, all right, I'm going to do $50 dependent care, $25 medical, $20 for whatever the other. So that's going to be out pre-tax. So let's just say you're making $30,000 a year. If you're taking that pre-tax, now what you're filing on your income tax is going to be less. So it's already been accounted for. There's nothing you have to do from a accounting standpoint. The only issue is, and it's not up to the county to worry about it, what's that money being used for? If they decide to take out $300 a month and buy a new lawnmower pre-tax, at some point the IRS is going to find out.
If I was wondering, you can claim the child care credit on your taxes. If you're already spending that money pre-tax through the cafeteria program, do you get to claim it on both ends or not? Or
no, you do not.
The cafeteria plan is better because the dependent credit tax, or the tax credit for that is capped at a certain amount, so I'm guessing the cafeteria.
So here's, again, just because I've got 3 kids that are involved in it, here's what you get. You get your $1,000 child care tax, that's just, you get that.
Yeah.
So the maximum you can contribute a year for dependent coverage is $5,000. So let's say you pick $2,000. We pick $2,000, so it'd be, or make it easy, $2,400, so it'd be $200 a month going into that dependent care. We're taking it out, and it's going back in our checking account as we get our bills. Let's say our bills for daycare for the year was $5,000, so there's a $2,600 difference, right? Following me a little bit? That $2,600 is what you can claim on your income tax.
Okay, that's kinda how I figured it
Yeah.
would, but just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, from, as a young parent, I'm all about trying to not pay income tax, so as much as I can try to make my month-to-month bills and then pull it out, you know, the first year's hard. The issue with the flex plan is it disappears. You've got 12 months, and that's what you get, and if you don't use it, you lose it. Now, an HSA, that health savings account's a whole different deal, that's a carryover deal. And that you have to couple with a high deductible health plan, and if that's an option you wanna go to, I think that's not a bad idea. I love my HSA, but that, you know, that's something to consider, and we can get rates on it too, so.
So we're looking at probably end of October before we get rates.
Well, renewal's December. Would it be appeasable to everybody if I press them hard for September? You guys can make a decision in October. That's 2 months of conversation that can be had and look over things. If I can get it done. I try to underpromise and overdeliver, but I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, so.
We should do some with that HSA plan.
And here's the seed. The seed for an HSA, and why we chose to do it last year, is the state upgraded, they increased the amount that the state puts into it for the employee. So you as a county, let's just say there's a savings in premium. You can choose to put $300 per employee or something like that to seed that HSA, that health savings account. The biggest thing with that HSA is a learning curve. The first year sucks, pardon my French. The first year, there's money going in and it's going out just as fast as you're putting it in, it feels like. Until you hit your out-of-pocket max. Once you hit that, which is generally usually lower than what a standard deductible plan is, once you hit that, you won't see a bill. It's just done. It's just taken care of for the year. And then you're still putting that money in monthly into that HSA. It's just a learning curve.
Is there an HSA option under the grandmother plans?
Now, once you
You
start,
have to switch over to
once you start moving, once you move that status is Gandhi. Yeah.
I know last year you had a few different options that were still grandmothered, and we selected the one that made the most sense.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it would be something similar.
My personal feeling is if you're really looking at an HSA and considering how much you guys contribute towards the health insurance, is if we can offset the cost of the premium, take some of that money that you're putting towards the premium, putting it into an HSA for employees to use for their medical bills and stay budget neutral, that's a win-win, I think, for everybody. So, you know, that might be probably one of the better options to do it. But it's all a matter of what the numbers are gonna be too.
Could you possibly take a look at what we currently have? And when you come back, have what we currently have and what the savings would be if we switched over to an HSA?
Yeah.
Compared to the claims that we have against it?
Right, yes, we can do
You
that.
should be able to know what the claims are
Oh, yeah.
that we got.
Yep.
Take the claims that we got against it and see where we would stand switching over to an HSA compared to staying on what we got now.
Yeah, we can do that. See, the beauty about an HSA, and I'll be brutally honest, they're great for people that need a lot of services, and they're great for people that don't need a lot of services. Like a family of 5 like mine, it's up and down. I mean, sometimes, if there hasn't been enough taken out of Katie's check before it gets in there, you know, we have to supplement out of our regular check for a $140 office visit, or a $900 ER visit, or, you know, that's the part that's different. You're not paying a $350 copay for ER, or $250 or whatever it is. And that's the mechanism And that's the trouble when switching to an HSA is in informing the employees. What I have done is I've made videos. I've done videos for 3 particular groups that it's out, I email them through a Dropbox, and it's available for the employees to click, watch, and say, all right, this is how an HSA works. This is how it's gonna affect you in the event of this type of claim. This is how, it seemed to work. That's something we implemented last year. And we had really good reviews on doing it that way, instead of Becky trying to answer all the questions on it, because it can get confusing on an HSA, it really can. But I really think that's gonna be the trend. I think that's gonna be the direction this year. For instance, families, you can contribute a maximum of $6,850, which is, I mean, you think about even at a 15% tax bracket, that saves you $900 in tax. You know, so, I mean, it's a neat mechanism, it really is. So I really think that's what we should look at. I mean, or an option of premium paid, what can we contribute as a county to the HSA to offset and then figure out what those numbers are. The numbers will tell us. Maybe it's not even a valid option, but.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Plus, if you could figure out the claims part of it, are we paying for insurance that we're not using
Right.
now? And if we put that towards an HSA, could we, the savings put into their part?
Right.
To seed it?
Yeah, I think that's a valid way of looking at it. And in the meantime, we'll run it with Sanford, with Avera, with Dakota Care, and just see what the rates are. Our past history tells me that some of those carriers aren't gonna be there even if Walmart's going up.
I think we pretty much all agree that we're not gonna go with Dakota Care.
Yeah.
And don't really think of Avera as a viable option either.
But, any other questions for me?
No, I guess I don't. Anybody have a question? Sue?
I do, and
Yeah.
I don't know anything about insurance, so this might be a stupid question.
There's no stupid questions on insurance, I can tell you that right now.
When you're talking Avera, Sanford, and Dakota Care, say that whatever you did switch to Sanford, what if you're already doctoring with Avera? What happens there?
Well, so, if that doctor is a provider for Sanford, no issue. You'd be considered in-network still. It's just, honestly, between those two, there's a lot of reciprocity. They have to work, particularly when you think about how they are down in Sioux Falls. The best thing I can tell you, if that's a really major concern, Sue, is go on Sanford's website, type in your doctor to see if they're a provider. That's the.
What happens if you're on Sanford or Vera but you go to Rochester?
I think Rochester is in Sanford's network. Dakota Care is questionable.
I don't think they are.
I don't think they are, yeah.
I'm almost 100% positive Dakota Care is not.
I don't think it is, because that's the beauty about Blue Cross, I mean, it's so big, I mean, it just really is. Yeah, Vera bought Dakota Care, but they're running them separate.
Well, you know, I doctor in Sioux Falls with Avera,
Okay, yeah.
and, but I go to Rochester, so they must connect somehow.
Well,
I think because the doctor,
So,
if it's a
Recommended that
referral situation, see, the beauty about Blue Cross Blue Shield, if you wanna go to Rochester tomorrow, you go to Rochester, there's no referral needed, you just go. In order to get it taken care of with some other carriers, you have to go through the paces to say, all right, this is something I can't handle Dr. A, we're gonna go see Dr. B at Mayo, and try to work it that way, so. Yeah. The fun world we live in.
well, I can tell you the plan we're on is great.
That would help us out the most, is if we could get that comparison of what we have now, compared to switching over
Well,
with the seed.
putting the seed into the HSA, and I'd caution you, I have some groups that are running like a $4,000 HSA, those don't work. Those, you gotta hit $4,000 in medical bills plus the premium. Let's not forget that you still have premium on that before you really get any coverage. And I've had groups ask me about them, and I won't even sell them to them. It's not.
Jesse, is there any difference in if you have existing?
Nope, no riders.
Nothing?
Guaranteed
So it's-
issue. No problem whatsoever. No.
See, Jesse, I'm gonna use myself,
Mhm.
what I can't get into my brain that makes an ounce of sense with Wellmark, or maybe it's any company, but Wellmark of Minnesota and Wellmark of South Dakota, you'd think that they should be the same,
Oh, yeah.
but they're not.
No.
Because the treatment that they wanted to give me, Wellmark of Minnesota said yes. Wellmark of South Dakota said no.
No. Yeah.
But for the exact same treatment, I was
Really?
denied, yeah, South Dakota denied it.
See,
They did.
It's, so Blue Cross Blue Shield is franchised, like McDonald's. It's a franchised, you've heard of like United Health, they're on the stock exchange. Well, they've got 17 states that they do Blue Cross Blue Shield for. And so North Dakota has their own, Minnesota does their own. Wellmark actually takes care of Iowa and South Dakota. So Wellmark is the company that owns Blue Cross Blue Shield's franchise for those two states. And so they are all independently ran businesses, which is, it's awful, I know, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm totally with you.
Yeah, South Dakota refused.
Scott, are you on the county's insurance? So you have the same plan I do? Because that surprises me, because mine was a very new, she said, you know, your insurance company probably won't cover this, we'll check with them, that's, you know, because it's new, it's blah, blah. They never said a word, they accepted it.
They said a word on mine.
I wonder why.
And what Wellmark and South Dakota pays different than what, might not pay the same as what Wellford hospitals in Bismarck charge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the negotiations are a little
Yeah.
different, absolutely.
But see, like I said, South Dakota is one of them that would absolutely not go with that radiation, no.
Hmm.
And they even said on there, this is the radiation that has to be for the reasons that they gave in South Dakota.
In the doctor notes, they wouldn't make a,
No,
oh.
I got the letter saying, no.
And they didn't ever reverse that?
No.
They didn't?
If you do the study on that type of radiation, they do it for, a lot of it's for babies and stuff like that, where it's gotta be so targeted,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter, South Dakota is saying no.
Hmm.
Wow. And that's what was spelled out.
Yeah?
No. It was very getting, it wasn't enough for you to sit there and think about it.
Any other questions there, guys?
I guess just check into that when we ask.
Yeah, I will. Well,
Anybody
I'll
else?
communicate, you guys got my email if you got a question. I think here's what I don't want, is I don't want to muddy the water a lot. That's what because I think it gets confusing for everybody, it gets confusing for employees, that just gets, in the health insurance, you don't want to mess up. It's one thing to not have a vehicle taken care of on a policy, it's another thing to mess up someone's health insurance. And I just don't want to get into that situation, so we're gonna take it a little slow, we're gonna take it let the numbers do the talking, see what the costs are, and then you guys can make an informed decision. That's fair to everybody.
Yep.
Okay. I just
Anybody
appreciate you guys getting out ahead of it. That's fantastic.
Anybody else have anything?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. See you guys.
Okay, let's go to number 18, old business. Is that where we want to do phase?
Yeah. But before we do that, being we got a lot of the county record. Has any of you guys talked to your employees to see about changing different insurance yet? To see what their opinions are on any of this, or?
I've mentioned it to the guys, I just told them that there would there's possibly changes coming down, have to pay for a higher family insurance, their premiums would go up. Yeah, single ones may end up having to pay for some, it just depends on what is.
What are they saying about it, or?
They're not happy about it. I'm not sure how many can afford high deductibles. Even the health savings plan is probably gonna be an issue. But until I have something more, it's A, B, or C, this is your options, which ones do you prefer, or which one, you know, or I can really give them something to choose from. But I know they're very concerned about the insurance premiums going up. And if they go up and then you also add that health savings plan, which I understand that option, but that's gonna be more money out of their pocket every month.
Well, they gotta understand
Oh, they do,
that health
they do.
insurance is gonna be going up huge.
Yeah, they know that, they just, they like to have some figures.
That's why
To
we're
give
trying
'em-
to get this out early.
Yeah, so they have options.
Have you heard anything from jail employees, or?
Nothing from my side.
What we've mostly talked about is that, you know, like the deductor, the copay went up last year from 50 to 25. Everybody just sucked that up, that, I've never heard a complaint about that. The main thing that I hear is they would like to stay with the well mark. They really need to switch to something different than that.
Okay,
Yeah, that too.
My main concern is the same as it was last year, making sure that we don't butcher the plan and end up with a plan that has a $12,000 family out-of-pocket maximum and bankrupt some of our employees if something catastrophic would happen.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something we definitely need to look at, and that was my main concern with some of this stuff here, that was Linda presented last year, yeah. Because if you look at what the out-of-pocket max on some of those plans are, it's ridiculous. Yeah, you might save a little bit on the front end with your deductible, but when you're paying that co-insurance, a lot of people can't afford that.
I know Linda keeps stressing that we pay such a high amount of the family. You know, I know she's mentioned that a few times. And I would just like, I mean, if there was thought about changing that, or I think I even heard the chance that it could be dropped, that you would only pay a single. And what I'd really like to see if that was even, is that for new hires going forward, then you just wouldn't offer the family plan, but I would hate to see that taken away from families who are already on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was their suggestion, is keep it consistent, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be pretty much an all or nothing deal.
There's lots of places where they used to offer things and now it's just, you know, going in that you don't get that, that's not a benefit any longer, but I'd hate to see it taken away from the ones who are already on it.
Well, it's something that'll have to be discussed.
okay.
You know, it's, could come. Anything else with that?
Nope.
All right, then let's go to 18, the old business.
Then we got the bill for phase now, and we're gonna pay that. You make up the difference and pay Mobridge Climate.
That's what the plan is, yeah.
Okay.
What were those amounts? And what's the amount that,
I think it's
Mobridge Climate
5,000
Control?
Bill for phase was,
No, phase was 2370.
Bill for phase was 2370.
Phase was 2370.
I think off the top of my head, I think Mobridge was 50, I'm gonna say like 52, I think. Actually, do you think it was too? I think it's real close to that. I think it was somewhere around 3,000 difference. Oh, Becky's figuring out, is there any other old business?
Is that, are you gonna pay both those bills then, or is that what the plan is, or, okay? 'Cause I heard somebody say the difference, but,
You were
okay,
here, we voted on that. so-
okay,
We're gonna pay phases bill and take phases off of Mobridge Climates and pay the difference.
okay, so that's the difference you're talking about then, so, okay. And is Mobridge Climate okay with that, or?
I don't have a clue, I don't know, I
He's
think he
never-
was asked to come.
He's
Pretty
been
sure.
asked to
Okay.
come and he's never.
So we'll just have to ride that out and see what happens.
Overage climate control was 5169. So the difference will be 2,799.
Have you heard anything, Josh? Okay, just wait and see what happens.
And been published in the meeting that that's what we decided.
Okay, that's fine.
We haven't heard nothing back on it, so. What did you find out on those grain bins that they was putting up over here?
That's temporary.
He had to, apparently, he had a certain amount of time to get those grain bins off of where they were because they burned a bunch of buildings out of Emily's. And he just took those and set them there temporarily, and they will be set back and they will be moved. But he just had a certain amount of time to get them off of Emily's farm, and so he just set them there in the interim. And I told him that he had to get, that we would send him a building permit, he had to get one permit to do it, so.
Anything else? New business?
How are we coming on the culvert deal?
We're still working on that. I talked to Scott before last meeting. He made some suggestions on things we might change a little bit, so we'll have to coordinate that. And then I can you want me to keep you all in the loop, or go through Scott, or how do you want to deal with that?
Let Scott know.
That's fine.
Okay, we'll deal with that then, so.
Has there been, all these ones that we set up for partial payments, has anybody been missing any of them that you've heard that I didn't?
I think with Nyla, everything has been okay. Usually if the partial payments don't come in, she's pretty quick about saying no, and then coming back to the commission saying, what do you want to do with regard to their failure to comply. So I think everything has been pretty good on the partial payments. I know like Tolly has paid, and I don't know if his agreement's signed or not, but he's been making his payments, and I think everyone else has. So I know we do have one issue with, that we're trying to clear up with on that St. Sing property that we took and then we gave back, and there's a huge bill on there for, is it MDU?
Yes.
Where it should end, because Penny brought that in, and we're trying to get that squared away, because I think what they did is put the whole dollar amount for the whole time period on the county, where a lot of that bill should have never been on the counties, but we're gonna have to try and get that figured out.
The problem was, I called MDU right after we made the decision to give it back to them and said, hey, put this back in St. Sing's name, and they said, no, we can't do it until after. Deb St. Sing would call them and actually confirm that, so, and she drug her feet on it, and she was contacted right away. She just wouldn't do it, so it stayed in our name longer than it should have, a lot longer, because of their failure.
And we've had contact with her. It's gotta get paid one way or another, not by us, but we need to get it squared away, at least get the bill out of our name, because they did turn it over to collections. I'm not too worried about that realistically, but we gotta get it squared away, because we don't need to have small claims filed against Walworth County. That's not gonna happen.
Do we need to bring them back in here and explain that to them, or?
Deb's been working with them a lot with me, so I don't know what.
I may just go over there and call her and talk to her. I may just go over there and take her up to MDU with a copy of the deed where she says it never was the county's, it was always ours, we were always living there.
I'm sure MDU is saying, well, county's gonna be easier to pay then.
Yeah.
Then that's why I would assume that they're not willing to take it out of.
Yeah, because it's already over $1,000.
I wasn't real pleased with the fact that they wouldn't trust us in putting it back in her name that they had to wait for her to call. I wasn't real pleased
That
with
was,
that.
yeah, that was crazy.
I mean, I could understand if it was a resident calling and saying, put this in another resident's name, but we're a government entity calling for that service to be switched over, and I wasn't.
And it
very
would have
happy
been
about
different
that.
had they actually been removed from the house and then went back in, but they were never even removed. So,
So yeah, we're working at, but we're not gonna, that's not our bill, so. And we're not gonna get sued by the small claims, so it will get rectified before that happens.
yeah.
Okay, as long as it does.
Yes,
Cause I get bills.
Patty will crack, or Penny will crack the whip on you, so.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, anything else? No new business, no nothing?
Do we know when, I've been taking some days off, so I just wanna be sure to be available. Do we know when you're gonna have a budget hearing meeting where you might wanna talk to us about our budget request? I just wanna be sure to be here, be available.
When's budget gotta be in by?
Well, we need to start having meetings on it, depending on how many meetings you're gonna have this time.
There's quite a few.
Let you guys have to set it
When did we do it last year?
in July.
July,
That was the first one.
Has everybody gotten their proposed budget from TV?
No.
And did we have special meetings for them, or did we do it at a regular meeting?
Special.
July 28th is the first one.
21st is our next regular meeting, right?
Yep.
You definitely wanna get rolling on your budget,
Yeah.
you definitely wanna get it.
Do we have
How
to
about
know?
July 26th for the first budget?
What's that on?
Tuesday, last Tuesday?
Last Tuesday?
Becky, when is the last chance, like, to know exactly what percentage the insurance is gonna go up and be able to put that in the budget? You know what I'm saying? I know it has to be
Well,
before
we can ma-
October,
We have to adopt a provisional budget in September,
and then
and then, right, October, first
that's when you
meeting in
have to
October, you have
adopt.
to adopt the annual budget. You can make changes, it just has to be listed in the minutes.
So to actually get any insurance increase put in the budget, you should know that prior to October 1st.
Just figure 18% right now, and the difference will be adjusted on that last one.
Figure at least 18%.
Figure 20% actually.
Yeah,
Normally.
that's kind of what I was wondering, yeah.
Figure 20% for that, and we'll adjust it at the last one.
Yeah, okay.
So do you wanna go with the 26th for the first budget?
That sounds good to me.
Does it have to be a Tuesday?
I don't,
Wouldn't have to be.
Well, 26 will work.
it doesn't matter to me.
That'll
I
work.
just picked a date.
It'll work, the 26 will work. For me.
Anything else?
At 9?
9 o'clock. Make a motion to
9 or
adjourn.
8 o'clock would be, you wanna go at 8 o'clock, or works best? What works best for you?
9 seems to work fine for me.
I have training on the 26th.
So do you wanna go to a different day then?
I'm sorry, I just thought that sounded, but I have a training on the
27th.
Is it just one day training, or?
26th. Yeah, I'll just be gone for that day.
27th then.
I'd prefer we stay out of payroll again, because last month wasn't very fun.
Okay, then pick a date. Don't matter to me.
What about Monday of that week? How about the 25th? Would that work?
It would be better for me.
25th?
Okay, 25th.
Thank you.
All right, I'll take that motion, Kevin. I'll take
Make
that
a
motion
motion
to
to adjourn.
Second.
adjourn. Motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passed.